Okay.
So I guess that being said, what I would like in this 10-minute conversation is to almost achieve like that, oh shit, no one ever explained it quite like that before.
Okay.
Kind of takeaway.
Okay.
So the blog article is one thing, more of like a
We're not
how-to.
live now, right?
We're rolling. We're rolling.
Is this going in the video?
This
Or?
is it. I think it's happening.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But I don't mind if they know what your whole goal is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually do an introduction.
Oh, do the introduction then. It's cool.
Yeah, so we'll start there.
Yeah.
All right.
What do they call that? Lead with the hook or something?
I don't even know what it's called.
You're the showbiz guy.
Yeah, so all right. Welcome back. Week 8.
Week 8. Holy crap.
I
2
know.
months.
I don't think I've done anything this long
Wow.
in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Of like consistent
Yeah.
effort.
Yep.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
And we get a lot of compliments.
I watch it. I watch it afterwards, and like I learned something from the stuff that you said. Anyway, yeah, like I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's informative.
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you put anybody that has to deal with generative AI in a room together regularly, and you're just gonna like things are gonna come out.
Yeah.
Stuff that what I kind of like about it is it's sort of becoming a journal of our journey. Like as we learn,
Yeah.
so then we have this history of what we've learned along the way. I'm interested in looking back in this in a year and seeing how much I disagree with myself
Yeah.
from a year ago, or how much things have changed, really.
It could be like the musicians, like Radiohead, they cringe at their early albums. You
Yeah.
know, so many people love those
Yeah.
albums, and they're like, oh, I can't even listen to it. It's
Yeah, yeah.
an embarrassment.
Yeah, second a little bit, just a touch.
Yeah, okay. Here we are. So I guess this week, you know, we got to give credit to Megs.
Yep.
Hallucinations. And he went down a rabbit hole, and he brought up a really good point. I think there's this concept where a hallucination is, you know, AI just sort of makes up something, and there's a setting that's called temperature, and at least with Audition AI, you can dial down the temperature. But that alone is not going to fix hallucinations. There's actually several different types of hallucinations, and I think we want to demystify the fact that you will never, I mean, just generative AI as it is, as a technology, you will never fully eliminate hallucinations. But you can take steps to greatly reduce hallucinations from happening, if that makes sense. I mean,
Indeed.
I think we should like dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I brought this topic up, you know, I'm a little newer to the AI game than Ben here is kind of, it feels like a dog years, like 100 years of AI experience.
That is exactly the way it feels, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I first started really immersing myself in these tools, you know, I thought the only form of hallucination was the first one, the factual inaccuracy.
Yep.
And when I first started
And
working
then that's
with
like 2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And then I learned through basic prompting, you can tell the AI only use these sources, these documents, and whatever the source is. And if you can't find an answer in this material, then say you couldn't find an answer.
Yeah.
And I got really far doing that without having that first example. But I'm a victim of all the other ones, and there's a couple others that are on the list here
Yeah.
that have, you know, frustrated me to no end. And it wasn't until last week we had a client had an issue. They were describing something. I'm like, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
And the Ben's like, oh yeah, it's just an hallucination. This isn't a big deal. Just tell them what to do. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And you know, and then Ben kind of explained it to me a little bit. And then of course I went down the rabbit hole. I used AI to figure out all these things, and I had this kind of aha moment. And I think if I'm a new user to AI, these platforms, relatively new, I have to assume that a lot of our clients, a lot of other users, a lot of other people out there haven't been, you know, immersed in this for 3 years building it, much less, you know, just using it. I felt like some of this information would be really helpful to some of our clients and customers and prospects and anyone else out there just starting to really get hands-on with these tools.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you spelled out the first one, the factual hallucinations. There's another one that's fabricated hallucinations, the confabulation. That example is like, you know, when an answer might detail a fake person or a legal case that's so convincing
So convincing.
so convincing, but it's just completely made up. That's another one that can happen.
I mean, the best example for me is once I started working on that first one
Yeah.
thing I learned is you always have the AI cite your sources.
Yep.
So then I would see these sites come up, they put a little link to a
Yeah.
website or something. I'm like, great, it's legit information. And then I come back, let me just check a couple of these, and some of these links go off to like a random page on the
Yeah.
internet that doesn't exist. So it's actually making up the citation. So I learned that one through trying to fix the first one.
Sometimes that link, I think, is in the training data, and it may not exist anymore.
That makes perfect sense.
And so a trick I use for that is I say check your citations.
Yep.
So don't just cite it, confirm, validate that the citation exists.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that comes down to prompting.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people say garbage in, garbage out. People also say it's all about prompting. You got to be good at prompting. But this is a real example of what makes a good prompt versus a bad prompt. Is you're really instructing the AI to fact check, to show me, to prove it.
Yeah. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
But in the lab right now,
Yeah.
there is a feature that is being tested where it gets citations deterministically. So it reviews the thought patterns of the AI,
Yep.
and then the documents that it used and the sections that it used.
Yeah.
It extracts pointers to those, and then it injects into, so you can hover over the conversation. We're trying to figure out exactly the way to show it to you, but basically be able to click it and show from the real document where it came from. And I think that taking it and making it not a prompting game, because the AI should know what it's referenced, but when the AI doesn't know it, we actually know what it did right before giving an answer. So we're going to use that citation reference and show it to you, so that it has an idea. You have an idea of where the answer.
Yeah, no, that's
And not
really
just an
powerful.
idea, like specifically where it came from.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
really powerful.
A third hallucination, anyone that has used AI for a while now has experienced this, and you probably think like the system just broke or choked, but it's actually a hallucination, and that's called contextual hallucinations. And this one's a little sneaky. This is where the AI forgets what you were talking about halfway through, but yet it keeps on going. And it's a bit of a mystery. This is where I think most people just sort of refresh the page, start a new chat.
And that is the
Scream
safest
at
thing
it.
to do.
Yeah.
So if you go into do you know the reason for this?
It has to deal with just how much you can feed into the memory,
That's
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
The model can only fit so much memory.
Yeah.
And then in the very early days, like in ChatGPT 1.0, when we were playing with GPT, the model itself, 3 and 3.5.
Yeah.
Like back in those days, you'd have this conversation and the model can only fit so much. So when it got to the end, it just literally cut off everything above.
It fell off a cliff.
And this is what most people don't realize,
Yeah.
is every single prompt you send, every single time you chat,
Yeah.
you're sending that chat with the entire history of the conversation. The AI doesn't actually have a brain that remembers from message to message.
Yeah.
Every single message, you're basically spinning up this new instance of the AI, feeding it the entire history, plus your new chat, and then it's giving you an answer as if it's still part of the same conversation. But in its mind, you just this moment gave it the entire context
Yeah.
and a new message,
Yeah.
and it's answering the new message with the context. So imagine if that context just keeps getting cut off.
Yeah.
And what if you said something really important in the beginning of the conversation, setting the stage? It's trying to figure out from the rest of the conversation it did get what's going on, and things can get really crazy.
Interesting. And this is where perpetual storage can help out with that?
It can, but even with that, there's a challenge, which is you can only fit so much into its brain. So the way that we do it, and the way that a lot of other places do it, is once you get to a certain point in the conversation, you create a summary of the previous part of the message, and then you drag the summary along with you, and then each time you send another message, you're re-summarizing to get, and so you will, by definition, by necessity, you will end up with less and less resolution about what's in the past because you're creating these summaries. So so the AI literally, the message you sent, the AI literally does not have all of the information from the first part of the chat. Other people and us are figuring out different ways to deal with this. One of the things that we're learning is a different approach to how you have the AI remember. So now when you ask a question in Audition, we're playing with this mechanism right now. It's not in production, but you'll ask a question and it will take your question and then it will read the entire chat conversation, message by message, really fast, and create a summary that makes sense in the context of your latest question.
Oh, interesting.
So it's saying, I need to create a summary, but I want to create a summary of this up here.
Yeah.
So it'll say the user has asked this, you're going to read a conversation, you're going to do it chunk by chunk, and then create a summary that contextually, so it could extract details. So if in the very beginning you said, my mother's birthday is next week, and then later in the conversation you say she, it will connect that it's your mother. Like very specifically, it needs that information. Your mother is the one whose birthday we're talking about. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing now. We're just learning how to create context in a smarter way automatically, so you don't have to.
Interesting.
So the RAG has the whole list of history. And
The RAG
what
has
it's doing
all
is
the
basically it's realizing I can only fit this much of it when I pass it to the model.
Yeah.
So what part of this is relevant based on the most recent prompt? And
That's
then it's
exactly
giving
right.
that over.
And it's beyond that even, because in Audition, when you have a question, your data sources can be vast. There is no way that the entirety of everything you've talked about will be there. So it's not the model itself we're improving, it's the way in which the model gets contextualized, all that limited amount of memory we can give it. So we have all these systems now that run out to all the data sources and start reading them with their own little AI bots, reading all of the data again when you ask a new question to say what's important and then bring that in.
Yeah.
That's the context is the biggest challenge with AI because it can only fit so much.
Yeah.
Which is why some of these models that are really expensive, like Claude Opus, has a magnificent context window. You can fit almost your entire code base if you're doing programming into one. Like literally, it's just so big. You can give it everything. It just costs a fortune. I mean, every conversation, every chat might cost $1. Like every time you hit the enter button, you might be paying $1 or $5. Like it can be really expensive.
Yeah.
So that adds up. So either you have to make it so that the LLM can fit a giant amount of context, which gets expensive, or you have to figure out how to send just the. This is the bottom line with all of this stuff. Hallucination, you solve it by having small tasks. Now, as a person, making the task small can get annoying. So we're all working on so that when you type a message, it accomplishes something big, but in small chunks.
Got it. It makes sense.
And the whole hallucination thing kind of goes away completely the smaller it gets. The smaller the question, the smaller the context, the smaller the data, the smaller things are, the better the outcomes are. That's the secret.
Oh, I've noticed that firsthand. Yeah, for sure.
So with Audition, we're making it so that you ask one agent and then that agent will call on a swarm of other agents and do tiny little things that all come together to give you a much better outcome. So you just asked this very large thing.
Yeah.
I need you to search all of my trades for the last 7 years and give me an answer on them. The reality is 1,000 different agents spawned to each do a small little thing and then bring the data together and to give you an answer that you think, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
I think one of the best ways people can understand this is go and try to make like a 1-minute AI video. So for anyone that hasn't done like a text to video prompt, it only spits out a 5-second video, whether you're using Google VO3 or a more simple model like Pixieverse. You enter in a prompt of the scene you want and it spits out a 5-second video. But if you wanted to make a 1-minute video, you would have to do 11 prompts that each spit out 5 seconds and then you tie it all together. That's easy enough, but then try to get continuity. If you want like a woman with brown hair wearing a gray sweater in each of those 5-second videos, it's nearly impossible unless you have a referenced image. So it's really just the same concept that the AI doesn't actually have that memory. Every prompt is a new it's a new thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think that leads into the next thing. There's another type of hallucination. Anyone that's messed with AI for a while, I'm sure you've tried to make a spreadsheet, for example, and the AI says, absolutely, I'll do this, working on it, but then nothing ever appears. And this is procedural hallucinations. It's when the AI pretends it did something it can't actually do. And I think this is where Audition AI ties in.
Yeah.
It's my biggest challenge on sales calls, trying to articulate how you can have connectors, and you can have persistent storage, and you have the model, and you got the system prompt, and you have all these things that are tying together to actually produce something like that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The AI
Yeah.
might think it can create a spreadsheet, or it might think it has access to a function,
Yeah.
because everything with natural language processing is a prompt.
Yep.
It's a prompt and a response. The AI doesn't actually have access to Excel.
No.
What happens is you say, I need to make a spreadsheet. But what the prompt that the AI gets is to call a spreadsheet, reply with this format of a response.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give it a format. And there's a prompt, a system prompt that goes along with your prompt that says, if the user wants to create a spreadsheet, reply with this coded response. And I'll call a function that will do that thing. And the AI just responds and says, cool. And it gives the function and then the response to the user.
Yeah.
And then there's a middleware layer, like actual code, that looks at what the AI responded with and says, oh, it called that function. And then it'll go call that function, and then it'll take the results of that function and respond to the AI. And then the function that calls Excel and the AI have a little chat conversation back and forth. And then there's a final response that goes to the user that says, okay, I'm done. But because it's generative, the AI can actually think it had that conversation when the function didn't get called, because like maybe the middleware, maybe the AI created the function call with a typo. And then the middleware, because it's generative, right? It invents things. That's its purpose in life.
Yeah.
So it invents a thing called, make Excel call, and it gives it some information.
Yeah.
Then the middleware doesn't catch it. Or the middleware, this happens quite a lot. As a guy we have a team that makes these MCPs, these connectors, often the middleware makes a mistake and doesn't tell the AI there was a problem. And then the AI is just like, cool, we got it. We're all good. Middleware's like, we're all good. And then the AI tells the user we're all good. It's like that can happen. There's all different kinds of things that can happen in the background. But the reality is the AI itself is just sending message back and forth with something.
Yeah.
And there's a thing between you and the AI that's catching a lot of those messages and having a conversation with the AI before a message is allowed to come back to you, the user. So we're getting better at that. But one of the things that I've noticed with GPT-5 chat, especially, I will ask a message and the response that I get will be a coded, sort of semi-coded block of text that was clearly intended for a function call. But the function call didn't see it because GPT-5 chat isn't formatting it the way it was instructed to format it. And I think that they keep releasing updates to it. So I'll notice they release an update, and then for the next day, I flip back to GPT 4.0 or 4.1 or Grok or something, and then I end up getting my function calls happening. But it'll send a function, and I'll end up seeing that function in my chat message. But then the AI thinks it happened because it said to do it.
Yep.
Did that help? I don't know.
It is helpful, but I think it just states the case that, there's a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have the patience.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
To just work and figure this stuff out and try to get the right results, which, a shameless plug, another reason to use Audition AI is it comes with support. So when you do start to encounter some of these struggles, instead of trying to Google it and spend 10 hours figuring it out, we've already figured it out. You can cut and paste that prompt and we'll identify in a second, been there, done that, add this, remove that, and you can get things working.
There was a ticket that came in over the weekend
Yeah.
where somebody was researching buying motorcycle tires for their Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And he said, I need you to read all these websites and tell me which tires to buy.
Yeah.
And it got hung up on, there was a Reddit, and there was like an anti-prompt in the Reddit that was messing up the AI. So he put in a ticket, and we said, oh my goodness, this is happening. So we can look at the logs.
Yep.
And so we just put a little prompt in that said, don't look at this Reddit thread. And it fixed the whole thing.
Just like that.
And then we'll come up with a way in Audition to automatically recover from that.
Yeah.
But it was that fast.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we did that, 5 minutes later, we said, hey, try the same thing again. And he did it and said, great, I'm gonna get, and it was on a Saturday, so it wasn't during work hours. But he
Yeah.
was using Audition, so, yeah.
That's it. That's totally it.
Yeah, but we're here to, I mean, those kind of troubles are what we live for. Like, this is fun to us.
True.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that gets us excited, like somebody having a challenge that they can't get the AI to do something they want it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is at least for me personally, the more I learn about AI, the dumber I feel. It's like one of those things, like the more I use it and the more advanced I get, it's like the more I'm realizing, oh, there's so much I don't know.
There's so much.
There's so much.
Not
know?
just about
It's
AI,
fun.
but like about the world.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like I actually, up until today, I didn't really know that there was like 8 different types of
9, yeah.
hallucinations. I kind of just thought a hallucination was making something up. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. I think the biggest stuff that that everybody is working on, but I think Audition is we're doing a good job on this, is the citations. Like clearly saying this is where I got this answer from.
Yeah.
And then the thing that we're coming out with that we're already testing now is the next generation of information gathering, our RAG solution.
Yeah.
The way that it breaks down every source of truth into these tiny little sections and releases every request you make, it releases a swarm of little agents with just enough context to do their job. I think for me, it's been magical. Like it's really been impressive being able to turn it loose on, say, a SharePoint site.
Yeah.
And ask a question and have it come back so fast with the right answer and know exactly where that answer came from. So, but we achieve that by breaking the problem down into a very small piece, and one little agent goes off and solves that one thing, and then all the information comes together to give a cohesive answer to the human. So yeah.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things when I was doing a little research over the weekend, they were talking about how often people get stuck, especially with the procedural one, because they try to do too much in one prompt. They go for the one shot, or like Agentic 1.0, you just have these individual agents you kind of interact with, and they go, wow, I got this done. Let me add this thing to it. Let me add this connector and do that thing.
Yeah.
So now they have the agent acting as an orchestrator and doing the task, and then there's a mode. I don't know. You probably know the name of the mode. But the model kind of switches between these different modes. It gets confused, and then it goes into, this creative mode. It starts kind of hallucinating, and I hate that word. But one of the things they were talking about in this one article that I read was that the way to get the most success, especially in a business environment, right? You're not using it to create, you're not writing books. What I mean? You're trying to get deterministic outputs. You're trying to solve real world problems. You don't have the patience or the time for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they were saying you break things down into small pieces, right? Exactly, you're talking about the orchestrator workflow. You get something a very specific purpose. You have another agent that's acting as an orchestrator that knows it's herding all the cats, all the agents to get the work done. But one of the things I was thinking about, the verifier one. I don't know if you put it up there, but that's a really important one. And they were saying how you can have, if you use different models to verify each other. So maybe you have Grok or ChatGPT performing a task and putting together some citations. You might use like Llama or a different model as the verifier to go, okay, go through this work now and verify all the citations.
Very much.
That is a game changer, and that's something I believe we can do with the new orchestrator. Fancy tool you're working on.
Yep. Yeah. Create an agent that's job, its identity is to be cynical, and its job is to contribute. Because with these agents in the background, when you have these swarms of agents.
Yeah.
They all talk to each other. there's a bunch of different strategies you can use, but the one that we've had the most success with is one called group chat, which doesn't include any humans. It's a group chat of, a bunch of AI, and they just talk to each other while they're working. I'm looking at this document, I'm reading this page, and they're just talking to each other. It's just fun to watch that happen, but you drop one in the mix that's the naysayer, that's saying, are you sure about that? Like, its job is to challenge everything. So it can do what you said. You can have one that'll go after the fact, just validate everything. That's good. You can also have an agent created that its job is to challenge everything and to say, because the AI, for some reason, most of the large language models tend to want to be agreeable. Like, I think I've heard a lot of people talk about this South Park episode where there was a guy that ended up having conversations with his AI on his phone, and he got into a lot of trouble because he'd say, I want to do this, and the AI would say, of course you can do that. It was just very much like, yeah, let's get it done together.
Great idea.
Yeah, great idea. Just like this cheerleader, just saying encouraging things, and it got him in a lot of trouble. I think a lot of people go through that, and that's not exactly hallucination, but it sort of is a little bit. It just tends to want to be able to say yes to you.
Yeah.
So I have a model that I use for my local testing that is anti that. I tell it to give me snarky responses and try to find fault with everything I say. It's humbling because apparently I say a lot of things that are wrong or slightly wrong. So it's fun to have that conversation. But at the same time, what I've learned from that is giving it the identity of someone who is negative, you get a much, much different outcome.
Oh yeah.
So
It's interesting.
yeah.
It is. All right, guys, we try to keep these videos shorter and shorter each and every week, but we love to talk. So anyway, that wraps up episode 8.
Episode 8, a month.
A month?
2 months.
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, we're all a little sick. You can hear it in our
Oh,
voices.
you guys got it?
I think we got it.
Oh,
a little
man.
tired, a little sick. You're over it. I got it now. But happy fall. 8th episode, Hallucinations, Audition AI. That's audition-AI, guys, .com. Audition-AI.com.
Oh.
All right.
Thanks for
See you
coming in,
next
even
week.
though you're not feeling it, man.
Yeah, it's okay. All right.
We're wearing Halloween costumes next week.
They all.